Morning, boys, and welcome to week 2 of term 4. Take a look at the screen in front of you so we can look at what we're looking at today. Many of us enjoyed the Kahoot on Friday. Our winners were Blackburn, Hongli, and Alp in third place. So well done to you guys. We will have another Zoom Kahoot on Friday at 11 o'clock. We'll just run those every week for those of you who are interested. Please look at this though. This is for everybody, not just if you are interested. Do not forget our weekly Zoom class tomorrow, Wednesday at 11 a.m. I do want to see everybody there. A number of you didn't come last week, 2 or 3. I want to see you there unless there's a good reason, and please email me if there's a reason why you can't join us for that session. Okay, now this is important. Many of you still haven't got work to complete from last week. So gentlemen, this is term 4. You need to keep the momentum going. You need to keep doing the work that I'm setting in order to feel prepared for your end of term assessments, which regardless of COVID will go ahead. They'll go ahead. The exams will happen at school if we get back to school, or they will happen online if you junior classes do not come back to school. So they are happening. You need to keep your momentum going. So there's a number of you, quite a number of you, who hadn't done your Stand By Me paragraphs by the middle of the weekend. And this is the exact kind of work you need to do to improve your writing. So this work must be completed today. Otherwise, I will be emailing parents. There are also some spelling quizzes still to be completed by people. Right. You can check the online learning checklist there to ensure that you know what you should have completed last week. If you gave up on the paragraphs because you couldn't work out where your Stand By Me essay was online or how you would improve it, here are the instructions. You need to go to the red notification square at the right-hand top side of your GrammarNet dashboard and click on that, and you will find somewhere a notification about your essay mark. When I marked them and they were all published, that would have been a notification there for you to look at. If you click on that, you will gain access to your essay. If you're still having trouble accessing your Stand By Me essay that you did for me in the due work box, then please email me. Okay, so now we are looking at a new poem called On Turning 10 by Billy Collins. That's what we're going to look at today. And so today's tasks, you're already doing this first one, watching the screencast, and we're going to read the poem after that and answer the comprehension questions underneath it in the front of your red exercise books. I haven't got too many questions for you today, but I want those to be completed to the best of your ability in the front of your red exercise books, please. Okay, so let's have a look at the poem. Now, remember that my advice to you on when you first come upon a poem, either being read aloud to you, like our young spoken word poet last week, or whether you're reading it for the first time, just let it hit you and see what you think. So I'm going to read it aloud and just let this poem hit you. Read it as I read, please. On Turning 10 by Billy Collins. The whole idea of it makes me feel like I'm coming down with something worse than any stomach ache or the headaches I get from reading in bad light. A kind of measles of the spirit, a mumps of the psyche, a disfiguring chickenpox of the soul. You tell me it's too early to be looking back, but that is because you have forgotten the perfect simplicity of being one and the beautiful complexity introduced by 2. But I can lie on my bed and remember every digit. At 4, I was an Arabian wizard. I could make myself invisible by drinking a glass of milk in a certain way. At 7, I was a soldier. At 9, a prince. But now I am mostly at the window watching the late afternoon light. Back then it never fell so solemnly against the side of my tree house. and my bicycle never leaned against the garage as it does today. All the dark blue speed drained out of it. This is the beginning of sadness, I say to myself as I walk through the universe in my sneakers. It is time to say goodbye to my imaginary friends. Time to turn the first big number. It seems only yesterday I used to believe there was nothing under my skin but light. If you cut me, I could shine. But now, when I walk upon the sidewalks of life, I skin my knees. I bleed. Okay, so that's the end of the poem. Sorry, I said something wrong there, but now when I fall upon the sidewalks of life, I skin my knees. I bleed. Okay. First thing I want you to look at is the title. It's always what you look at, because titles give clues. What do you think that's about? What do you think the poem is going to be about? And the other question I want you to ask yourself straight away is, who's talking in this poem? Presumably the poet is a grown-up or somebody who's older than 9 anyway, the poet. But remember, we talked about poetic voice last week, and the poet might be using something called a persona to bring out the meaning of his poem. He might be using a character. So his poem, the voice, the poetic voice, might not be his own voice, but the voice of a character. Now let's have a quick look at the questions, which are underneath. Only 5 questions. So I want you to actually write down who you think is the persona in this poem. That's the character that the poet is speaking through. If you read the title only, what would you think the poem was going to be about? I want you to identify a simile from stanza 1. And then I want you to tell me, not just with one word, how does the poet feel about turning 10? I want you to write quite a few words about that. And then I want you to provide 2 quotes from the poem which help prove or justify your answer to the question above. Remember that in this subject you are always looking for the evidence from your written text or from your film text that shows you how the writer or the film director makes you understand things. How do they do it? So you're looking for quotes from the poem as evidence or proof or justification for your answer to the question above about how the poet feels about turning 10. And then I want you to explain how those particular quotes help you understand the poet's feelings. So as much explanation as you can give. All right, I think that's all I want to say about that. The only thing I haven't said yet is that your static image marks are now available to you on Google Classroom. So there's a link, there'll be a link on the page, the GrammarNet page today that you can click on, and you can click on the assignment static image marks. It's not actually an assignment because you've already done it a long time ago. It's just that I was able to get into school last week and find your report marks and add them into the marks I'd already done on your static images. So you just need to go in there and click on and you'll be able to read it. You'll be able to see a marking schedule which shows you how I've marked your static images from last term. Many of you did a pretty sketchy job of your reports, and they were worth 5 marks out of the 20. And so many of you didn't get great high marks because you hadn't really bothered to do the explaining on that sheet that you needed to do. But anyway, take a look at those, and I look forward to meeting you all, seeing you all tomorrow at 11 o'clock on our Zoom call. Okay, have a great day.